Welcome back, everyone. Well, if you watch us often, you know that we have been following the journey of two astronauts that are literally stuck in space. And this morning, we're going to talk about some of the health challenges that they could be facing from being up there so long. Astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore have been at the International Space Station since June. Well, it was supposed to be a one-week stay, but now NASA says they may not be able to return until late March. Joining me now live to talk about the impact of that prolonged time in space is biomedical engineer Dr. John Jaquish. And John, let's begin with, first of all, thank you for joining us. But also, can you tell us about the effects of this long a time being in space?
So more or less, the human body, every cell in the human body, doesn't need gravity for proper function. Without the pull of gravity of the Earth, and exactly that amount of gravity, cells don't function as well. And bone density is a perfect example of a tissue, bone, that begins to break down without gravitational pull. Now, they're doing exercise in the International Space Station to try and maintain some of that, but it's a little futile. They can protect some of the bone mass density, but for the most part, it's falling. And when they leave that space vehicle, they're not going to be in very good shape.
Let me ask you this. We've had astronauts in the past that have spent, upwards of 300, 400 days in space before. The kinds of things that they have to engage in to keep themselves healthy and keep their bodies going and making sure that everything runs smoothly. What are we talking about? Different kinds of exercises, physical therapy up there? What do they do?
So there is a system that they have called ARED. It's an acronym. I apologize, not familiar with exactly what that stands for, but it's a system that emulates regular weight training. So they get an experience that's similar to regular weight training for a sustained period throughout the day. They're focused on having to do quite a bit of exercise on that system because when they're at rest, it's different than being at rest on Earth because of the lack of gravity. So they have to put a lot of load through the body. And the problem is this system emulates weightlifting on Earth, which, if you look around at most people who spend time exercising, doesn't work very well.
Yeah. I was wondering, you're obviously a bodybuilder, I can tell by the size of your shoulders. So, you know what you're doing out there. Do you think any changes should be made with the routines that they go through up there?
Well, I wrote a book called Weightlifting is a Waste of Time.
Okay.
Because the human body has a lot of capability in very specific positions and very diminished capability in other specific positions. So they'd be better if they loaded the body with like variable resistance. So more force put through the muscle and bone where the body is more capable of, less force where they are less capable. So it's of sort of uniform difficulty that would be better. And I'm sure after these extended space flights, these talking points will be taken a little more seriously. But also, one needs to keep in mind, these are U.S. astronauts, and they're very highly trained.
Yeah.
So the panic is not a thing they do.
Yeah,
they're trained. They trained for years to do this.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Okay, we talked about the physical effects on the body. What about the mental effect on these people being stuck up there this long when they didn't expect to be?
That's probably the biggest difference. When people here are worried about them, they're thinking about the challenges of frailty in aging. Aging research, a lot of really important aging research has been done with astronauts with extended space flights because it emulates a very rapid aging type experience, or being like bedridden for years at a time is very similar to just only a few weeks in space. So we learn from that, but they're so highly conditioned. They know exactly what's going on in the body, and they signed up for this. They're fine with it, and they know when they get back to Earth, they're probably going to leave the space vehicle on a stretcher or in a wheelchair, and they're going to begin to recondition. It might take them 6 months to be fully functional and healthy again, but they'll do it.
Wow, that is amazing. 6 months. Had no idea.
Yes.
All right. Well, Dr. John Jaquish, thank you so much, sir, for your time and your expertise.